My name is Parker,
Hey, I'm Seid.
And I'm Mike.
and this is the Try Hard Podcast.
Hey guys, so for this week on the Try Hard podcast, we're just going to go a little bit on to Mike's big training week leading into Lake Placid, a little bit of my training and my outdoor rides I've been doing recently, a little bit of a race recap for Ironman Mount Tremblant. So let's get into it. Mike, you want to, or I think you guys want to start off the race recap?
Yeah, let's do that first.
Yes, I know, Mike, you were sleeping in, right? Because you had a big day Saturday. Well, you had a big weekend, so you didn't
Yeah,
watch too much of it. But have you had a chance to watch any of the replays?
I did watch a couple of the replays. I did go through all the results to see where people finished and what some of the splits were. And I guess the starting off was the swim shortened, they said.
Mhm.
I was just watched Lionel's video right before we recorded this.
Yes, the swim. Oh, Lionel already posted a race recap video.
Yeah,
About
yeah.
12. I didn't have time to watch it yet.
I'm excited to watch that. But yeah, so I think the swim was shortened because the conditions looked pretty terrible. It was rainy and windy and whatnot. So yeah, I think they shortened the swim by quite a bit. And so I think it was 11 or 1200 meters instead of the typical, 1900.
Yeah. And usually that's a beautiful course, beautiful venue. That swim I would say normally is probably pretty fast. There's really no current in that lake at all, and it's just a nice like rectangular swim. And then the bike is pretty tough. Like that's a really tough bike course, similar to St. George in terms of elevation gain. And then the run's a little bit hilly, like rolling hills, I'd say. There's a couple decent sized ones, but it's a good course.
Oh, would you look who it is? Surprise, surprise. We have a special guest appearance coming on. Jimmy, the
What's
man
going
himself, Jimmy Tatum, has decided to hop on the Try Hard podcast for today's episode. Jimmy, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. What's going on, guys?
Nothing much. We're just doing a quick little recap of 70.3 Mont Tremblant, and then we were going to do a little training recap since Seid and I didn't really do too much training over the weekend, but Mike had a pretty big weekend, and I know you're getting geared up for 70.3 Door County.
Yep, that's right. Gosh, and if you don't mind, if I interject, say you're growing one hell of a mustache.
Dude, I'm trying. No, it's still early stages, but it's gonna be badass, especially for Maryland. What is it, 12 more weeks? And then it's coming off right after sub 10. And if it's not sub 10, then it's staying on for a while. So that's the plan.
By
Jelly
that
vital.
by that race, you might lose like 5 to 10 watts keeping that thing on.
Okay, Ben Canute.
Well, how about we do like a proper intro for Jimmy, or have Jimmy
Yeah,
explain to the
let's do
listeners
that.
who he is?
Yeah, gosh. How's it going, everybody? I'm Jimmy Tatum. I'm a 26-year-old working triathlete, although I like to prioritize one more so than the other sometimes. But I won't say which one. But yeah, just got into the tri space probably about a year ago and started working with, got connected with Parker and most kind of raced once and bit the bug just because I played college baseball and was looking for the competitiveness in my life. And there's not a whole lot of competing when you're doing Excel spreadsheets all day. So that's that's basically the short synopsis of me. But yeah, I'm sure still a lot to learn in this sport. So forever grateful.
And now what's cool about Jimmy is actually you and your dad both raced Ironman Texas this past year, right?
Yeah, that was really special. Being in that race, it's a 3 lap run course, and he was starting his first lap, and I was on lap 2. And the way you kind of at one point go across each other, and I could tell he was in a dark place. So I was like, okay, let me go give him a quick hug and chat with him a little bit, and we did, and it was, I mean, it's a moment and a memory that I'll never forget in my life. So it was really special.
And now wait, that was your dad's first full Ironman, right?
Yeah, yeah. So he was joined with Parker back in November, and we're both gearing up for Ironman Florida later this year. And when he had an injury in December, I was like, okay, he's got plenty of time to recover and train. And then he throws the ball on me of, I'm doing Ironman Texas with you. And I was like, being his son, I was nervous for myself. I was nervous for him. I was like, oh crap! Like my 65-year-old dad thinks he can just pull this out of his butt and do this. Oh man, it was cool though. I was really pumped for him.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, that's what Jimmy and Micah are all about. And now you have there's one more younger brother, right?
Yeah, younger brother who we have him on a road bike. He's coming off an ankle injury, so we're trying to get him to ride it more. And I'm sure once he starts riding, he'll see what he's missing out on.
We'll see. We may have 3 Tatums on the NVDM team soon. All right. So, Jimmy, I know you were watching Mount Tremblant, right? Too?
Yeah, I was just more so following on the app. I was busy in my own pain cave per se.
Yeah, no, we were just talking about how the swim course was a little short, and then yeah, no, you guys have any other thoughts? I thought, did you guys expect Lionel to win?
Yeah, coming at the
Yeah.
weekend, I definitely thought Lionel was gonna win. I thought Jackson Laundry was gonna be top 3, so I was kind of surprised that he finished 5th. And then Justin Real, he was awesome. I feel like I think the big part that was super sick was like on the bike, and then Lionel stopped to get the nutrition, and he just kept powering. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Um, yeah, overall, I thought the bike was great. And then Matthew Marquardt, that was also a super impressive race coming back off an injury. So I think he only ran, what he said, like 30 to 50K the past 6 weeks. So he really just hasn't been running. And for him, like you saw, but I thought he could have done a little better. I think he should have came second. He lost like 30-ish seconds in T2 playing with his shoe, and he like came third by 4 seconds. So, just that alone could have like secured him second. And then he also had to walk a little bit during the run, which makes sense coming off the injury. But that sprint finish with Ben Canute and him was really fun to watch though. But I really wish he came second. But I didn't realize that was his first pro 70.3, which is like kind of crazy. I thought he like has done one before, but I guess he hasn't. Yeah, I thought the race was really fun to watch overall. I enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
no, that was his first, I think, 70.3 in close to 2 years. And what I thought was pretty funny
Yeah.
was I could tell the Ironman commentators, they were trying to hype it up as much as the T100 finish at San Francisco. There's like,
Mhm.
oh, this was one of the best finishes we've had, and at this distance and like so long or whatever. They were definitely trying to hype it up quite a bit. But I was talking to Mike and Seid right before this, and I guess on one of the Iron Man posts, if you read all the comments, everyone was so pissed that they were playing ads at like the worst time, and so you weren't able to see. I think you weren't able to see one of the finishes, and then you weren't able to see some of the battles going on either. But yeah, I think they need to get that sorted out with outside TV. And then yeah, on the women's side, we had Paula win, which was pretty impressive, especially after she won the Canadian, was it the National Time Trial Championships?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Third time in a row, 3 years in a row. It's crazy.
And what I think that speaks to is, so she's a strong cyclist. I mean, she's the best cyclist in Canada. And yet, what's her name? Taylor Knibb, you guys know how many minutes into her on the bike at T100?
I'm not sure,
Oh,
but she did
She
put
put a
in
lot
some
of time into
significant.
her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
put in quite a bit.
Yeah, so I think that just goes to show. I mean, now obviously the course is a little different and it's more technical and whatnot, but yeah, I think that really shows how strong of a cyclist Taylor Knibb truly is. So, yeah. Any other thoughts on the race?
I don't think it was that surprising that Lionel won. I mean, he obviously dominates the 70.3 distance he has for so long. And then the last time he raced that race, that was the same year that I went up and did Tremblant, and he won that year as well. And the conditions were total opposite. It was actually really hot that day, like 85 or so, I think it was on the run. It was pretty uncomfortable. And yeah, I think he ran away with that one as well. And that race actually was the race where, is it Tomas, the guy who won Texas? He podiumed at that race. But at the time, he was not as well known. But I remember after they talked about some of his previous race results, I looked back at some of the pictures of the guys on the podium, and I was like, oh, there's Tomas. Like I didn't even think about it back then. And I think Nick Chase came in third, maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I guess I mean you talk about a guy like Lionel. He's poised for a solid race when it's a shortened swim too. So you're just playing to his strengths. So being new to the space, I was you kind of learn about all these people through social media or YouTube, and he's obviously got a very well known YouTube channel. So I was curious to see how that aero testing that he just went over to Germany for was going to pay off for him, and clearly it did, even on a crappy weather day where you have rain and all the sorts. So
Yeah, I commented on one of his Instagram, or maybe it was Talbot's Instagram, right before the race. I asked if Lionel shaved his legs. No one responded, but I assume he did. Hope he did. Yeah, but anyway, speaking of shaved legs and biking and running and whatnot, you guys want to do a little weekend training recap? I know Jimmy, or everyone right now except for myself, is technically in corporate jail, so they may have to hop on off soon. But Jimmy's on a little bit more of a time crunch. So Jimmy, wanna start us off? Trying to talk about, I don't know, it doesn't have to be this weekend, but just training leading up to Door County. Maybe some of your favorite workouts and whatnot.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, guys, got 70.3 Door County in less than 3 weeks. 3 weeks from yesterday, actually. So just been a lot of a very different build leading up to Ironman Texas as compared to this, and a lot less time on Saturdays on the bike, which is enjoyable. But I do miss the Ironman build at the same time. But no, it's kind of been hit and miss. For family or work travel, it's been kind of a sporadic training block per se. So I think kind of going into this race, I don't have too many expectations, just to go enjoy, for the sake of racing. So, but no, like, I guess I'll talk specifically just as it's fresh on my mind about this past weekend. I had about, gosh, what was it? 4 hour block on the bike with different 70.3 power intervals, which felt really good. I'm really, my bike setup is kind of, and I'd say the strength in my legs is feeling really good right now. And maybe that's due to the sporadic nature of this training block. I might be a little fresher than I have in the past. And then, so I had that into kind of an easier runoff with a bigger run day yesterday. And it's been hot as heck here in Austin. So, yeah, just really tried to take it easy on the runoff, but, felt good. I'm kind of experimenting with what I'll call a super bottle of basically 200 grams of carbs in my front hydration to then just go electrolytes. Because in the past, I've found I have that really cotton mouthy feel, and I don't, you're never poised for success when you come off the bike and you're, want all the water in the world. So it seems to be working well. I'm kind of pumped for that, like going forward. And then had a 15 by 800 workout yesterday with a 200 easy jog in between each, and then I had to walk for a bit because it was 87 degrees at 9 o'clock in the morning here, so heat got to me pretty quickly. But yeah, I mean that's just the midst of summer training in Texas, as we all know or have heard. So no, it felt good though, and my pace was anywhere from, I think it was like 550 to about 615 ish. So I know that's not probably 70.3 runoff pace yet, but it's kind of cool knowing kind of where I started and where I'm heading on my run, and knowing it's not far away either. So it felt really good in my 70. I'm trying to get my carb intake better on the run. It's still not great because my stomach just has troubles handling it, but 70 grams of carbs per hour yesterday, which seemingly went very well. So I was pumped about that.
That's really solid. How do you take your carbs in on the run? Like, do you prefer gels or are you trying to drink them?
I prefer gels because it's kind of like what I mentioned with that cotton mouth feel. I'm like,
Yeah.
if I go to more like sodium based product, I just find it gets worse. So I really try and just do like water electrolytes in the bottle, and then just all through gels.
Nice. And this 70.3, is this going to be your first 70.3? I can't remember if you've done 70.3s or only fulls.
This will be my second 70.3. I did the last Arizona 70.3 back in October, and it was like 100 degrees that day, and
Oh,
unfortunately had dealt with flat tires and back-to-back races. So I'm just looking to put a full race together for once. And although Parker might not like to hear this, I
man.
would love to blow up on the run for once. So if that happens, I would be totally okay with it.
Well, because yeah, Jimmy, you got flats at your son, and you even didn't you do like an Olympic before the 70.3 or like a shorter
I
race?
did.
You
Yeah, yeah.
did you get a flat in that race too?
Nah, no, I don't think so. It was
Oh,
just a modified bike course because of
oh, that's
the
right.
weather
Yeah.
conditions.
I was going to say, are you running tubes or tubeless?
Tubular.
Oh, okay. We got to switch you over to tubeless and we got to get you, I don't know what tires you're running, but we definitely need to look into sending you some GP 500 or 5,000.
Like the amount of times I've heard that, I could, if I had $5 for every time, I'd be a wealthy man by now.
Uh, and now with your super bottle, do you have any issues? Cause I've tried that in the past, but I don't know. Did you have any issue? Do you have a straw in your front hydration, or do you sip out of the bottle?
I have a straw.
And you don't have any issues sipping out of the straw with with it being so concentrated?
Uh, no, because I've found that I just like if I take a quick swig of that and then like just almost not rinse your mouth, but like just quick water to the mouth too, it like I'm okay.
No, perfect. Awesome. Well, yeah, no, Jimmy sounds like a pretty solid weekend, and yeah, we're definitely all excited to see how you do. And I really do think like if it all comes together, I think you'd really rip it up on that course. I raced Door County, I think 3 years ago, 3 or 4. It was my second ever 70.3. It's a great course, and I don't know if they will this year, but I know when I raced it, they had freeze pops at one of the aid stations, which those went really those tasted great when you're on the run and it's hot outside. So yeah, keep an eye out for those.
Absolutely.
Now, Mike, you're training for a little bit of a longer race, aren't you?
Yes, my first full Ironman Lake Placid, and that is 4 weeks out, I believe now. Yeah, 4 weeks out. We've got two more hard weeks or hard weekends, I guess, and then I believe our taper starts after that. But this week was a good week. Last week I was still kind of I think that was like a recovery week coming off of half Ironman Eagleman. Uh, and then yeah, the beginning of this week started to finally feel like I was getting back to normal. And we hit it pretty hard. I mean, I think I hit the most miles I've ever run in a single week. I didn't even realize that until yesterday after the run. I did 36 miles, which for me is good. I've struggled in the last couple of years to get my mileage up consistently over 30 miles per week and like hold it there without getting injured. And like everything feels relatively good right now. My ankle's holding up well. And then yeah, I guess I'll talk about three workouts in general that were really good. One swim, one run, and one bout. But on Thursday, I joined Ezra for a swim set. It was supposed to be 2 broken miles, of 500, then 2 by 250, then 6 by 100, and then 50 all at threshold. Doing 2 rounds of that. I ended up just doing, it was like 1.5 rounds because I had to get to a meeting, and it was also pretty hard. But on the first 500, we were in like a big swim group, so I was in a draft technically, which is partly why my first 500 was so fast. But I think I actually PR'd the first 500 and went out at like 6:13. I think that's like, what is that, like it's like 1:17 pace, I think, per 100. And then yeah, even after that, each set after that, or interval after that, was really good too. And that was like, I think up until that day, I still felt like my swim had not really bounced back since Eagleman. So that was good. And then Saturday morning, went out really early, like kind of right after sunrise. I was even trying to get out before the sun came up because it was about 80 degrees as soon as the sun came up in New York this weekend, and the humidity to start the day was already at 80%. Oh, I was like, oh, this is going to be really fun for the 20 miler. So I actually did. And next time, I think when I have a long run, I'm going to change it up a little bit and do maybe like 2 out and backs. This time I just did like one really long out and back, and I ran from where I'm at, which is like Battery Park City, all the way up to almost the George Washington Bridge. So went like 10 miles out and then 10 miles back. And when I made that turnaround point in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm so far from home right now. Like this sucks. So I was like, if I blow up from this heat, it's gonna take me forever. Because I was like, I don't carry my phone with me. I just have my watch. So I'm like, I can't get a city bike, can't call an Uber. I have to make it home. I have to run these 10 miles home. So I guess that was more motivation to like actually get it done. Um, but yeah, it was really good. It was 6 miles easy, 8 miles at Ironman like goal pace and heart rate, and then 2 miles easy, and then 4 miles at Ironman pace to close it out. The first 14 miles, things were pretty good. Like my heart rate started to creep up a little bit at the end of the first 8 miles at Ironman pace. And then, yeah, once I got done with that, I was like, my heart rate was just sky high. It was so hot. I lost 5 pounds of fluid from sweat while still consuming 4 bottles on 4 to 5 bottles, I would say, on the run, which was, I think that's relatively significant. I was talking to Ezra and he's like, that's like not that bad. But I don't know if I've ever lost that much fluid in a run workout before.
Wait, really quickly,
But
how'd you carry that many bottles?
so I used the naked belt and I took, so you know how the naked belt usually has like three pouches on it. Like I think it has one in the back and then two like on the like your front left and right hip, I guess. I swapped it around, so I had the back and front, and I just put gels in the front pouch, and then made like two rear pouches, and I took the Precision Fuel and Hydration like soft flask. It's like 500 milliliters, and I put two of those in the pouch, and I did that because I was like, this is something I might do for the Ironman, and then I'll put like extra ones in my special needs bag and grab that at some point, during the run. I don't know if I'm gonna do that during the race because I noticed like right off the bat running with it it was like really like bouncing up and down a lot because there was so much fluid, and I don't know. Yeah, I think I'll just put maybe one bottle in there and then just always hold on to one during the race, something like that. But yeah, it was good. And then I would stop at I stopped at a water fountain twice to fill them up while I was out there, which was much needed. But yeah, a really good run. I mean, my longest run ever is 20 miles at a 8:27 uh minute per mile pace, which is, I mean, given the conditions, like I'll take that. It was solid. And then last workout of the week was the day after that, Sunday. Was 5 hours 15 minutes on the bike on Zwift. A little bit mind numbing doing that one inside, but the main set was 3 by 20 minutes at Ironman power, which was 250 watts, then 3 by 15 minutes at 260, and then 3 by 10 minutes at 285. And I felt surprisingly good on the bike. Everything went well, took in about 100 grams of carbs per hour if I include like some of the nutrition I took like right before I got on the bike. Uh, Drank a lot of fluids, which was much needed after this weekend. And yeah, the last interval, usually like if I were like doing a week like a midweek ride and I had to push 285 watts, I would be like, oh, this is not bad at all. But 5 hours deep into a ride, the third 10-minute interval at 285, I was like, I might just fall over right now and die on this bike. Like I was like, I have to get this done, but it hurts so bad. The legs were just screaming. Uh, and then ran 30 minutes after that, and I actually felt pretty good on the run, like surprisingly good. So yeah, really big weekend. Uh, Feeling much better about the Ironman now. And I actually I texted Seid too. Seid has talked about, and I don't know if anyone else has had the same sensation or feeling, but during each of Seid's last two Ironmans, he mentioned like he would get this like tingly feeling in his like hands, face, feet, whatever, extremities. And I didn't understand what he was talking about. And then after that last interval at 285 watts, everything got like kind of tingly. And then when I went out on the run, like my feet, hands, and face were like tingly. It was really, really weird for like the first 2 miles of the run. I was like, this feels really odd. And I knew it wasn't like I definitely had enough carbs, and I feel like I had taken enough sodium. Like I didn't underfuel it, but I know I definitely didn't go over. Um, but yeah, it was super weird. And then it kind of just went away once I got to, I guess maybe around mile 3. So I don't know. Parker or Jimmy, have you guys ever had that happen?
No, gosh,
Yeah, no, I need
that's
to figure
interesting.
that out still.
It was like it's almost like it's similar to like if you took pre-workout for the first time and like beta alanine, you know how that like
I
kind
was
of
gonna
makes you
say maybe it's
itchy.
the beta alanine probably kicking in.
See, I didn't have any beta alanine though. That's the weird thing. But it's like it's like a little bit different tingly feeling than
Well,
that.
like
Like
beta
beta
alanine, like
alanine,
they're itchy. I feel like where this is
yes,
like you're like having like when your like foot falls asleep and like you have pins and needles, but you have that on your
yes.
face. Like that, at least that for me, it's happened like both like Florida and Texas. It started earlier at Texas, so I think for me, I think I overdo the salt, and that's what it is. I think, but like I never have it like happen during training, which is weird. And also like during the races themselves, I don't think I really overdo the salt too much, other than like taking extra like salt tabs when I feel like I'm cramping to offset the
Hmm.
cramp. But I think I like overdid it during the race though, so I'm gonna definitely get sweat tested soon. Figure that
Yeah, and I
out
think we could
beforehand.
probably rule out the ketones too, because I definitely didn't take any ketones and I still
Yeah, it's
got that.
definitely not
So
the ketones. No,
I
ketones are
can't blame it
great.
on ketone IQ now.
The more the merrier. If I had
Jimmy, are
unlimited
you a
funds,
ketone
I'd be.
guy? Have you ever tried
I
ketones, Jimmy?
no, I haven't.
No. You haven't tried the Gipsy tears yet?
Yeah.
Uh, well, if anyone's
Uh,
listening to this and has any ideas about tingling sensations, let us know. But yeah, speaking of nutrition and whatnot, I know we wanted to keep this episode a little shorter. We have a really long one coming out next week. But do you guys want to talk about any? We haven't done this segment in a while, but it's the we talk about a new gel product or whatever. I have a few that I've tried out. One really good one, one really bad one. But before I do, Jimmy, Sade, or Mike, do you guys have anything any new nutrition gel supplement, anything really? You guys want to mention? Oh wait, really quickly. We should mention the nutritional sponsor of the episode, Raw and Revive. If you guys want to pick any up, use code NVDM at checkout to save some money and support the Triad podcast. All right, who's up first?
I'll kick it
I'll,
off because then I'll let you guys wrap it up and I'll go jump on my call. But I started with Pico 2, with that Raw released. Um, Very interesting. I mean, I've only taken it for 3 or 4 days now. Don't love the taste. I should probably mix it in a smoothie or something. I'll decline to say what it smells and tastes like, but I've seemingly, I don't know if it's psycho
Placebo.
it's like, yeah, placebo, or it's actually working, but I felt pretty damn good like the last 3 or 4 days. So given all my aerobic conditioning. So I don't know if that's attributable one way or another, but I've got nothing but good things to say about it outside of the smell and taste. And then I guess I'll leave you guys here. Thanks for, I know it's short, but thanks for having me be a part of this. You guys are doing great things, so I appreciate it.
Anytime, we'll have to have you back on after Door County. We do a little race recap.
Sounds good.
All right.
All
Have a
right,
good one,
boys. Y'all
Jimmy.
have a good one.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jimmy. You
Bye.
too.
Mike, any new products?
Yeah, I got one. Parker actually sent me some raw replenish, and I had ordered some too. It's not in yet, as well as the Pico 2, which I'm excited to try that. And the raw replenish that I had ordered was the watermelon mojito. But Parker sent me the chocolate one, and I've had it 2 or 3 times now, I think. And I plan on later today putting it into a smoothie, which is came as a recommendation from Parker, and it's really good. Like, I was a little skeptical at first because like when I want electrolytes, I prefer it to be like a like saltier flavor. But putting the chocolate replenish with water, it kind of tasted like a frozen hot chocolate. And like the colder it was, like the better I felt, the better the taste was, I thought. So I was like, this would be really good, not only just like a smoothie, but even if you just did like water, ice, and the replenish and like blend it up to make it like frozen, I suppose. It's really good.
You
So
should try. You should try. I'm not the biggest coffee fan, so I probably won't. But you should try like a mocha. Mix it like a frozen iced coffee. That could be good.
yeah, that actually would. Now I might have something to try tomorrow. I'm
Yeah.
gonna show it. That'll be my like pre-workout drink before I go to the pool tomorrow.
Yeah, no, but one of my favorite recipes with that is literally, I'm not the biggest fan of using like during a session, just because like during a session I don't really want chocolate. But like right after, especially right now in the heat, mixing so like 1 or 2 scoops of that with a banana or two, some milk, and some like protein, like peanut butter protein or just like chocolate protein, mixing that up, it is delicious. So yeah, big fan of that. But Seid, how about you? You try anything?
No, I've been pretty boring. Just
No.
living on raw orange every week. And that's all I need. I need to
Well,
get
I have two new
stuff.
things I've tried. One, so I placed a feed order, and let's see, what was it? It was uh oh, here it is. So it's called Quinton Sport Totem Sport Hypertonic Electrolyte Supplement. And I knew it was going to be a little interesting because it had no flavor. It just came in like this blue package. As I mentioned, I got this on the feed. And so it's an electrolyte supplement. And it doesn't have any nutrition facts either on the package. And so I kind of forgot what it was when I ordered it because I placed the order like a month ago. And so I was like, oh, I'll try this out. It was one of the most, not disgusting, but oh my God. It was pretty much like, think of like super concentrated salt in like lukewarm water. It was like literally like a packet. Like think of like Element, but like how salty Element is, but just like flavorless, just like pure. It's like drinking from the ocean. That's actually kind of what it tasted like. It was like,
Ooh.
yeah, I'm like, why would anyone, consume this? And so that is something I will not be getting again. Thankfully, it was only one package. So yeah, I don't even know how much sodium it had in it, but I can only imagine it probably had probably at least 1,500 milligrams, I think. So it was definitely super salty.
Wow.
But yeah, I'll not be getting that again. But then on a positive note, what I also tried, it's a new brand that the feed recently partnered with, Santa Madre, I believe it's like a Spanish from Spain. And I bought a few of their products. They had like a sample pack, so I picked one of that up. They had one of the things that I'm excited to try it out. It's like a jelly bar, a lollipop flavor. I haven't tried that out, but it has 100 milligrams of caffeine and 27 grams of carbs. So I'll see about that. But yesterday I tried the oat cake cheesecake bar. It's actually really good. Tastes kind of like a strawberry cheesecake. Yeah, so more to come on that. But what I also thought was interesting, well, a few things. They have a few flavors that are just, or not flavors, but it's called like they have like gels, oat cake bars, and then they have unusual. It's just called like an unusual gel. And I'm like, interesting. I wonder what makes it unusual. But yeah, I haven't tried that out. but another thing I thought that was interesting was they have a bunch of different ratios for the different products. So like carb sources, so I think it's fructose to sucrose. They have like some are like 1 to 0.05 grams, some are 1 to 1, others are 1 to 0.08, which I think is kind of like the scientifically, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's the sweet spot one usually that
yeah,
most brands shoot for.
yeah. So
That's interesting. They have different ratios for products.
exactly, yeah. So for example, some of the gels. So actually they have a 60-gram gel, which is the 1 to 0.08. Then they have a 45 carb gel, which is 1 to 1. They have a 30-gram gel, which is 1 to 0.05. And then the jelly lollipop bar, which is 27 grams, is 1 to 0.05. So it looks like I was gonna say the lower the carbs, the lower the second part of the ratio is, but that's in the 60-gram carb, it's 0.08. So yeah, I don't know about that. But
I wonder if they're supposed to be used at like different times, like the 0.08 during one of them's maybe before and one's like recovery.
yeah.
That's curious. Um, I can't wait to review. There's a new product on the feed that I'm
The
sure you've
Plasmid.
probably placed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at my feed order right now and I'm like, when did I place that order? I placed that back on June 11th and still have no updates on the order other than the fact that it was confirmed. So just patiently waiting for the plasmid so that we can all be Christian Blumenfeld.
The plasmid, you take it before or after, right? You don't take it during.
Correct. Yeah, I think he said either before workout or at night, or I think sometimes he'll take it before workout and then like at night as like a recovery.
So stay tuned for that. And I think that's gonna wrap it up for this week's episode. As I mentioned, we have a long one coming out, I think next week with Lachlan. He's gonna be coming back on. So yeah, that one was a great one. And yeah, if anyone else has any other questions, comments, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll catch you guys back here in the next one.
Awesome. See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Try Hard podcast. If you enjoyed it, we'd appreciate it if you could share with others and leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you have any questions or comments for us, you can either DM us on Instagram, leave a comment on YouTube, or message us through the Spotify app. Lastly, I'd like to thank the sponsor of this week's episode, the Naperville Acupuncture Center. If you ever find yourself in the Chicagoland area and are dealing with some aches and pains, I cannot recommend Frank and Angela enough. They do an amazing job over there, and I promise you will leave feeling so much better. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you guys back here next week.
And there's a big like notification where it goes recording in progress.
Oh.
Created
Yeah,
for
so,
people
like-
like you, Parker.
That's funny.
Yes, but for anyone that didn't hear it, Seid tightened a screw today, and we were very proud of him. It was his first experience with bike mechanic work,
Yep.
and he's practically a level 1 bike mechanic now. Yeah, no, in seriousness though, we got to talk with Jimmy about running tubeless and getting him some GP 5000 TRs or yeah, I think.